know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So these kind of episodes are, and I hope I got his last name right. But I literally.
It was a bit of a slip, so you probably hope he got it wrong.
I would love to hear from the contractors a little more, like the bullshit public adjusters do. But
I think Javier is saying that doing live stuff on Facebook is bullshit, and either he's saying that our show kind of sucks, which probably, or he's saying that live episodes with all the freaking technology issues that we have do suck. He's got a point.
Is that a sad face?
Matt, you're a perfectionist and you like all this perfect production and this and that. The live shows, it's where you get real, like you get something out of it. So I think he's joking about stalling out.
Boned by your camera that doesn't want to work. That's what you get.
Javier, what did you really mean by that statement? What did it really make you feel like?
How did that make you feel?
Maybe he's laughing so hard he's crying.
Maybe.
What about I would love to hear from some attorneys about the bullshit PAs do.
That's
But
great.
none of them.
That's
I
great.
wish Remington was on here. We could have some fun with that.
There you go.
Hopefully he ends up joining us at some point.
So here's a question I have, because Jasin, I happen to know, he is a licensed public adjuster, but he works in the world of sales. Like, how do you feel about PA firms that use people that aren't licensed to do sales, but then to represent the PA firm? Because, I mean, the license aren't easy. It's not like you just go, hey, here's my 6850. Can I get my license?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you guys feel about PA firms that have, these celebrity people out there or industry pushers or TikTokers, and they're out actually soliciting claims, but then you take someone that's worked their ass off to get a license that says, look, I really, maybe I'm not great at it or whatever, but I love being in sales, or I'm great at it, but I worked my ass off to get that license, and now I'm just competing against some guy named Carl that isn't licensed, and he's pushing for a PA firm. I think that's super scammy.
Taylor Bezick has an excellent comment here. Public adjusters who overload themselves and fail to give all their files the same effort or attention, rather prioritizing the low-hanging fruit, while neglecting more difficult investigation-intensive claims, wasting the finite window of time an insured had at their disposal, and often opting to just defer those claims to litigation at time limitations approach, and then citing those numbers as claims settled, maybe even writing them on a big check.
Yes.
Yeah. Taylor's a buddy and a smart cat.
Taylor is smart. Taylor and I puzzled out a spray foam roof together right after the Keller hailstorm. The hail was so good that the asphalt road had hail damage. That's how good the hail damage was in this area. But it was weird, and this roof was just so strange, and we were trying to find ways that there could be coverage. And to be honest, there are very few individuals, and Frank will attest to this, because we've had this conversation together many times. There are very few individuals in this industry where we could really just puzzle something out from a policy standpoint, and I can geek out about it. Taylor's one of those individuals.
Yep.
Very smart cat.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. Taylor is absolutely one of the smartest guys in the industry when it comes to policy knowledge.
What's up, James?
100%. So thanks for commenting, Taylor. It was a great comment.
You guys still have me on audio? I can't tell.
Yep.
Yeah. We can hear you.
Yeah, no, I really almost kind of want you to send Taylor a link and bring him on. He's a smart son of a gun.
He is.
If you want to jump on, shoot me a yes on there, Taylor. Otherwise, I'm not going to spend the time it takes to.
And again, Taylor comes from a great firm. It's a firm that works claims with honesty and integrity. They stay in their wheelhouse, I think if more people in this industry would kind of try to do that and go, wow, there's a bunch of storms in Maine, and they're like, but I know nothing about Maine. I've never even read anything about Maine, but I'm going to Maine. Like, maybe that's not always the best idea, And then you're definitely
blessed. Then they find out about the mosquitoes.
Oh, no, let's not talk about them. But they're doubly blessed from the contractors, because a lot of these contractors try to start their relationship out like full book of business nationally, and then they kind of get to this false yes with the PA saying, hey, can you handle everywhere? they go into a region where they're not really strong, and then that kind of becomes a problem too. And then they screw the whole relationship up, and the client ends up suffering. So, kind of the bullshit PAs do, and contractors. Matt, I've got a question for you.
Oh, fun.
How about the bullshit that contractors do, like where they take 3 swings at bat, or literally prejudice or fuck the claim so far that it can't be unfucked? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, are you saying that they leave a file so fucked that it can't be unfucked?
Yeah. But then they're like, oh, I got 5 great claims for you. I'm sending them over today. They're all large loss. They're like $32,000 a piece.
If you are a contractor watching this show, you need to understand that you must keep your claims fuckable at all times. At all times.
It's science.
It's science. Listen, if you're giving us bullshit, how can we deal with that? We have a limited amount of bandwidth that the carriers are really willing to give us, and we have to
called unfuckery.
Unfuckery?
It's unfuckery.
It's called unfuckery, Matt.
Yeah, we can't do our unfuckeriness to. I don't even know how to work with this pronoun. That makes no sense. All right, so if we can, this is weird. If we can get a file from you a little bit sooner, maybe after the first denial. If you're going to get denied 3 times by 3 different individuals, even if we all know that the third one was bullshit, they were sent out for no real reason, they really have no authority to say yes, we know that. But the fact that it happened looks good to a jury down the road. The jury gets to say, all right, well, it was reasonable. They did 3 full investigations, and they agreed with themselves 3 times. What are we supposed to do with that?
I said to myself,
Self, can you fix this problem? No.
There you go.
But I want
Matt,
to fix this problem because I want the business from the contractor. Here's a PA bullshit. I'm going to take your bullshit claim and make you feel like I can do anything because I want your business and I'm a public adjuster and I need the money. So I'm going to take your bullshit and then I'm going to take more bullshit and I'm going to tell you, oh man, that's bullshit that they're doing. So you give me that one too. And I want this one. And then I want that one. And then I get this pile of bullshit so high that I cannot breathe. And then you hand me a good file, finally. And I want to look at it and I want to pet it. And I want to say, oh, you're such a beautiful file.
The unicorns.
I love you. I love you, beautiful file. And then I'm going to stick you into the pile of bullshit that I've already taken from you.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to get to it because I can't find it anymore. I can't dig through all this bullshit that I have to do on a daily basis just to keep these claims moving that I'm never going to win. And this one gets left alone and it should have been attacked immediately. You can get yourself so bogged down in bullshit that you can't even help the good clients that have a case, that have a chance.
Yeah.
Don't take on the bullshit if you're a PA, and if you're a contractor, understand that if all you're doing is handing over the leftovers that you can't win, the public adjuster is going to put themselves in a position, if they take those on, that they're not going to be able to handle anything.
Yep.
You're just going to put them out of business. And also, public adjusters shouldn't do that to attorneys either.
Also, yeah, it's called throwing dead wood. Also, like Matt, you brought up a good point recently, and I want you to speak about it a little bit about how contractors judge you on files.
James just said it. Contractors claim the PA isn't good because they can't fix the claim.
I want to interject. Like, if you guys call me up and like, hey, we're moving a pool table Saturday, can you come? And I'm like, no, I can't make it, man. I'm sorry. There's no way I can be there. You're not going to be mad at me. You're going to be like, well, it's kind of a dick move, Frank, but whatever. But if you call me and you're like, hey, can you help me move a pool table on Saturday? And I'm like, dude, yeah, I can probably do that, man. I can probably be there. Would you mind coming over Wednesday and help me mow my yard? And then like Saturday comes and I don't show up, you're going to be pissed. And that's, I think, a lot of PAs fail to see. Like, if you tell a contractor out of the gate, like, I really can't do anything with this one, they're normally not mad. But as soon as you say I'm in, and then you try to start wincing away from it, they have a right to kind of get pissed and be like, what the fuck? You know, I professed to Matt in the class this week when I was speaking, there's been a couple of files. I mean, 1 or 2. We actually worked at a negative deficit because I gave the contractor my word. And you kind of get judged by your courage of convictions or lack thereof, if you will. So if you tell the contractor, regardless, at the end of the day, I'm going to do this and we're going to be at this number, we do this, and then, maybe if an appraiser gets involved, I'll cover this, or, whatever's legal in the state you're working. you can't go back afterwards and be like, oh, hey, bro, sorry. Can you help me out and split this with me? It's not real fair to do that either. So
no, it isn't. I tell you what I used to do, and James nails it. I used to tell contractors when they were trying to hand me their bullshit, I marketed to contractors because it was easier for me to get more claims if I marketed to somebody that was going to potentially send me referrals for 100 claims versus just one. If I marketed to a policyholder, so I marketed to contractors. I got a lot of business from them. Nice sticker. In fact, at least 2 really nice stickers.
wait, hold on. Let me put my head right there.
There you go. Stay right there. I like those. Very nice. Don't move. They're gonna. They were trying to hand me a claim to test me out on, and they always want to give me that bullshit claim that they're thinking. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? I would if I was a contractor. I've got this.
Let's see what you're made out
claim.
of.
I cannot figure out. I want to hand it to you. You just convinced me I should use you. I want to hand that to you. If I take that, you're going to judge me on it. This one's going to take me a long time. It is no longer fuckable. I can't unfuck it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix this. Even if I am able to, it's going to take me a long time, and you're going to judge me on it, contractor. No, I won't. I promise I won't. I won't judge you on how long this one takes. No, I'm telling you to your face that you will judge me on this no matter what you say. And you're never going to give me another one because I'm going to finish this one. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Maybe I finish it 8 months from now. And instead of
maybe an attorney finishes it for you.
You're going to say, you take too long. Public adjusters take too long. And you're not going to send me a file. And then you might tell your buddy that Matt Mulholland took 8 months. Can you believe that shit?
Absolutely. It's called the 110 rule.
I cannot.
And I gave him a great claim. I gave him the links to AccuLinks.
Yeah.
I sent him pictures. I gave him everything he needed. I took JPEGs of the policy and sent it to him as I turned the camera. He had everything he needed.
I had a contractor once send me 113 emails.
Oh,
each email had a photo of the policy.
This is my favorite contractor picture right here. Hold on. My favorite contractor picture.
Yes. You need the shoes in the picture too.
What are they measuring?
I mean, the only thing that tells me is something they were measuring was bigger than my you-know-what. Like, it honestly.
That's what they were doing. That's what their trucks does.
I used to get them on Windows all the time. I'd be like, what is that picture? It says 39 inches with a finger pointing here. And they're like, that was the window and the aluminum wrap. I'm like, what window? We're doing a roof.
Well, you need, whatever. You need collateral. Anyway, that's not bullshit. You need those photos. Frank just wants you to take the photo better.
Yep.
If I'm going to take a bullshit file from a contractor, I ask them up front for a good file to go with it. Maybe even 2. I want 2 from the very beginning of normal files so that I can show you what I can actually do. I'm going to work this one because I don't take on a claim that I don't work because I don't want to screw people. I'm going to work it, but it's going to take longer than these other 2 you're going to give me. Judge me on these other 2, and I'll take this one off your hands. And then at the end of those other 2, you can decide if you want to continue using me. And that's how I overcame a lot of that. But I had to say no to files in order to not become a dumping ground for bad files.
And the contractors probably respected you for it. And you probably continued to get work from them.
Yeah, but the second I started taking on bullshit files again, if I ever appeared to be desperate, or if I ever just thought I was so good, and I've definitely had this problem in the past. I was humbled by it even. I thought I knew how to fix some of the worst claims that were out there, and I started asking for specific claim types with specific claim facts. That was a mistake.
Oh, I was like, that's
I fogged on my own system.
Matt and Jason, do you know what every contractor gives public adjusters and every public adjuster gives attorneys? Handcuffs.
For Christmas?
They always tend to lock up some portion of the claim. They put some form of handcuffs on them from just doing what you're talking about, just stepping over just a little bit. Not breaching any ethics or this or that, but, just saying, you know what, I think I might be able to do that. internal optimism kicks in. Now I'm going to get it there tomorrow. And is all they're doing is they're giving the other party these things. These are my kids, like fake ones that break.
We're not judging, Frank. It's all right.
I got it out of a bag of fidget spinners in the garage here. But
these look like dog toys.
no, they're fidget spinners. And see, we got the releasable handcuffs. But you know, it is a reality. I mean, we put things.
A dungeon.
It is
kind of weird that you have those.
There's
I didn't even think about how weird it is that you pulled those out, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of weird that you just had that handy suddenly.
It's in a bag of fidget
and
spinners.
A tape measure.
That's my dead dad's tape measure.
Sure it is.
Well, he is dead.
Upon a contractor desiring to refer a claim to me, I ask him if he is certain that no more money can be had on the claim without my help. When he agrees that they are at an impasse, then I tell him that I will do everything that I can to get what is owed to the client. But what I get them is what I get them. I explain that I'm not willing to accept any pressure from the contractor whatsoever. If those terms are agreeable, they always are, then I accept the claim. That's sexist. What if it's a woman?
That's the only negative you could take out of that statement. That was a really good statement.
It was. Steve and I would agree 1,000%. PAs and contractors, to be honest, need to be more transparent and say, here's my expectations. Let's have that conversation now before you go down the road and they're pissed off at you 6 months later. What's the point of building these relationships if you know your intention is to get overloaded and piss everybody off?
James says you're in your master bedroom.
No,
hey, so
look, I'm literally in the garage where we play pool. We got company logos up there. The dog kennel's over there. You guys can ask Matt about Senior. He sleeps in that big wooden kennel.
Senior is an enormous fucking dog that will eat your face. He ate my face. He put my whole face in his mouth. My whole face.
He's bigger than Frank. When you posted a picture of your dog, I expected to see a big dog, but I didn't know it was going to be like an elephant. That dog is so huge. It's bigger than I expected.
Steven says to define a woman. Look it up in Webster's dictionary. You could also look at Black's Law Dictionary. Hey, so if I was an attorney bitching about public adjusters, I might bitch about the fact that public adjusters think that every file has bad faith.
Oh my God. How about, let's just steal one from Hanks's playbook here. Public adjusters shouldn't say bad faith. They can maybe say maybe we're not acting in good faith.
Yep.
I don't think public adjusters should ever say bad faith. Here's a real rub for public adjusters. Every roofing contractor that's hopped in the ring with Ali for a few rounds and is getting really used to this industry loves to scream bad faith. Then it puts us in a precarious position. It's like, hey, man, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a public adjuster, you know.
How do you feel about adjusters who imply they could be infringing on the Unfair Claims Practice Act?
I think that any of those adjusters, if they're seasoned enough or have been around long enough, never met me when I worked for an insurance carrier, because I'd hand them their fucking ass.
If they threw that out there?
With educational outreach where, you know, I put on that brain that I wore for a long period of time. And Matt, I would assume that you would.
You wore it?
Weird faces, you confuse me.
You wore a brain?
No, fuck you. Anyways, when we do arguments, when we're doing public speaking about carrier side versus public adjuster side, you got to admit that it's got to be a rub to you or frustrating. It's hard to argue with someone that did it a long time. I think that's a very dangerous statement to make, Jason, unless that person unequivocally, just like no doubt, can prove that statement. If not, you're making some pretty gregarious allegations that you really need to be a lawyer to actually prove.
What are you measuring right now?
What's that?
What were you just measuring?
How wide this table is and the pool room? It's 30 inches.
Needs a cricket.
There you go.
It's what?
Needs a cricket. Instead of bad faith, how about misinterpreted policy? Well, that's one of the Unfair Claims Settlement Practice Acts, misinterpreting or misrepresenting policy language, really.
You know what I really like is,
if you're misrepresenting policy on purpose, that definitely is bad faith. Proving that someone did that on purpose is the hard part.
You don't possess a license to say it's definitely bad faith. You're not a fucking lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm pretending to be one right now. I'm pretending to be Remington.
If they're misrepresenting
that's
policy,
definitely bad faith. But proving that they willfully and knowingly misinterpreted that policy is the hard part.
You have to prove that they willfully did it with intent, and that it's not just out of ignorance or their opinion.
Yep.
Right.
Bad
Maybe
faith.
they're just an idiot. Maybe they actually on the stand admit, I'm an idiot. I don't even know why they gave me this license. And then they get away with it.
I love to be a fly on the wall of every attorney that watches this episode later going,
How many times have you had an adjuster say to you, I know that you're right, but I can't do that or I'll get fired?
Often.
I've heard it in a different variation. It's, I don't have the authority to approve that settlement offer. They might get capped or maxed out at whatever stage or authority they have.
Is there ever a point you would feel comfortable telling the insurer's representative that they are going to hear from a lawyer? The insurer's representative?
Insureds. And
no.
The insurer. Oh, yeah. So he's asking, like, if you tell the adjuster for the insurance company, you're going to hear from a lawyer. Threat of litigation for a financial indemnification, I believe, is illegal. You can't threaten litigation to get a financial betterment. So I do that. I would rather tell them fuck off or I'm about to beat your ass. I think you're a lot better there.
I did how I would end up saying something like this. If we're at that point, I would say I'm going to consult with my insured and advise them on other dispute resolution alternatives that are in the policy or other available remedies in the policy or something along those lines. That's how I would normally say that.
I'm gonna give Stephen the advice my dad gave me, Frank Dalton Sr. Great man, dead and gone. Don't ever threaten anybody. Just
he's got a point here. Would you be given the gift of anticipated litigation? Yeah. And then they could start saying they could put everything under a work product and all that kind of crap. Yeah. Fun.
Did you just cut me off or can you not hear me?
I just cut you off.
Really? Well, I was talking about my dead dad. That's rough, dude.
It's been a long time.
Not that long, just like 5 years. Bottom line, you should never threaten anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You should threaten litigation.
I don't know.
Just do it and prove it. I mean, why would you tell someone
after someone dies, can you just cut someone off when they're talking about them? What is the rule on that? Does anyone know?
If you let me finish my fucking statement, you would know.
I'm having fun interrupting you.
I don't think you should threaten people. I think you should just do the action. What good are you going to get by going, I'm going to take my ball and go home? Like, why does anyone on here honestly think that threatening an independent adjuster from whatever insurance company is going to actually do a fucking thing at all?
I know of some people that definitely teach a bunch of people that.
Well, I don't know who those people are, but anyone that honestly thinks threatening, that's like me going to the DMV and saying, if you don't give me license plates, I'm going to drive.
My wife.
Pretty long.
She's mad.
You better.
She heard me be rude.
Oh, no. My dad was a huge smartass too. We're good.
Threatening doesn't work. It does. This is my ex-business partner. All good. Well, not ex. We're still technically all good. Still around. Sup?
I agree with Desiree's remark there. Threatening doesn't work.
Nope.
It doesn't do anything. You know what you're doing is you're warning them. You're about to punch them, and you're letting them know that you're willing to go to that length or that means. So I think it's a bad idea.
I think you can show that you're willing to go to those means without ever threatening, just by setting up the file correctly and identifying in your emails that everything is in line. It will be very obvious to someone on the other end if you send emails in that have a good format that show a history of a bad performance from the carrier that
hey, Matt,
have everything in line.
Matt, Urban Dictionary says 6 years.
6 years.
Now we know, and no one's half the battle.
Next year I can interrupt
Duly
you
noted.
anytime you're talking about
I wish
your dad.
John Sinek was watching right now. He would call that a callback, where I brought
Yes,
it
he would.
back.
Well done.
Yep.
Well done.
And then I interrupt you on top of it.
Well, let me ask you this. Something you mentioned earlier, if you said, hey, I thought we're acting in good faith, would that also be implying the litigation side of it?
I certainly think it is. Very, very politely. I certainly believe it is.
Okay.
The main issue is that, from what I understand, their file is protected from discovery after you threaten them with litigation. Not necessarily their entire file.
Now, in Florida, he is 100% correct.
Not the whole file.
Yes,
they can put certain things under an attorney-client privilege and protect it from discovery.
Let me interject what Stephen meant to say.
Neither of us are attorneys.
Their claim file. Bullshit. I was a pre-litigated defense specialist. This is what I did.
Is that like being an insurance specialist?
Anyways, their entire claim file becomes privileged at that point. It takes another attorney to get any more information out of it. Stephen is correct there.
Duly noted.
Maybe. If we were attorneys, maybe we would know for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's stop picking on PAs for a second.
All right.
Let's pick on giant Facebook groups.
Echo chamber.
Echo chamber.
Oh my!
What have you heard in the echo chamber that is just not true for many areas? How about just send it to appraisal? How about I hate this.
All
term.
depends on the policy.
Oh yeah, that's such a cop out. How about this? I get that all day.
Here, wait. Here's my favorite echo chamber thing. PM me.
I do that one.
Yeah.
Or I just sent you a PM.
It's funny Matt brings up the I get that all day. I literally in my notes have contractors, when we're talking about setting expectations, say I get $900 a square for 3-tab. And I'm like, what state are you in?
Yeah.
So now we have this conversation about expectations.
I'm in Georgia.
Yeah, not in Georgia.
No. We were averaging like 416 to 430, somewhere in there per square on 3-tabs in Georgia, which is enormous for Georgia. But we don't have a lot of the requirements, and it's anyway. If I said that on a group, they would look at me like, "Man, you kind of suck, don't you?"
That's all you get.
That's all you get. For certain areas, that means a very different thing. And that was also several years ago when I was doing residential claims in Georgia. Now,
Frank Dalton here. My wife matters. I got to go cook dinner.
Hashtag wife matters.
What's up, Jack?
Wait a minute.
Guys, this is a great show. Thank you so much. I know you guys are probably going to go a few more minutes, but thanks for having me on. A lot
anytime.
of fun.
Yeah, we like you a little bit.
I have 0 plugs given. I'm wearing a Thanksgiving shirt.
Zero plugs.
0 plugs.
Okay. Very nice. I don't even know where to go with that thing. I can tell you this from Facebook groups. I guess he's gone.
Yep.
He removed himself. Frank's wife matters. Yeah, David. So-and-so gets cosmetic exclusions overturned every time. I get that all day. I picture them using that voice.
Yep.
Get that all day.
Good one, James.
You must suck. What a noob. Hey, if you're in a group and you ask a question and then people make fun of you for asking that question, that's a shitty group. You should leave it.
Yep.
I tell my students, every question is stupid. Because we're all stupid. All of us, including me. We're going to learn from each other. I'm going to take notes as I teach you. You're going to say stuff that I didn't know. I'm going to take notes. I take a shit ton of notes during the classes, by the way.
Look at David Summerly. Today he brought up the 25% rule.
Right, which was funny.
It was great because it was insightful.
Real, but it was funny, and it worked out mathematically in my head. And I'll explain that later in a future video, maybe. But the point is, the reason we ask questions is to be less stupid. So every question is stupid. Yep. If you're going to ask a question on a forum, fantastic. Do that. That's the point of them. So we could collaborate.
Yep.
if you're going to give bad advice that is state specific, maybe you could say, in my area, maybe preface everything with that in the future.
There you go.
Phrase wife matters. We already did that. I have seen a new pattern with the adjusters for the insurers actually attempting to lead public adjusters and contractors and saying that they would sue the insurer if the insurer did not pay what they wanted. How would they lead into that? I've had Allstate tell me many times, now that I've actually said their name, I have to be careful of what I say afterwards. It has to be 100% accurate so I don't get sued or something, right?
There's that.
So I've had them tell me many times, they're not allowed, by the way, with the Unfair Claims Settlement Practices Act to force or entice someone to sue in order to gain the benefits of their policy. But they have told me at least 4 different claims. I've heard this from a manager that the insured is invited to pursue other remedies in their policy. What does that mean? Does that mean, fuck you, just sue us?
Oh,
I felt like
appraisal is an option. That's another.
No, not in Georgia. This was in Georgia.
Oh, in Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not an option. What's y'all point on appraisal? It's not an option everywhere. In several states, it's just different. You can't get scope appraised in many states. Well, in at least 2 states. And State Farm is attempting to get that in other states based off of the way that the case law went in Georgia and North Carolina. Scope is not part of the amount of loss. And you better believe they are constantly looking for a good case to take through an appellate court. And they're looking for a case that has an attorney that doesn't really know what they're doing and claim facts that are perfect. And they have a lot more viable options to choose from than we do.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll find the perfect case. They'll find the case that has an attorney that doesn't necessarily deal with property, doesn't really understand all the nuances involved. And they'll lose and appeal and go to an appellate court or some kind of a court that actually becomes case law, or at least very persuasive, and they will win there. And in Georgia, the Georgia appellate court has decided that the term amount of loss does not involve scope. Now, they didn't say scope of loss. They didn't say scope of work. They didn't say scope of damages. They just said scope. So apparently amount of loss has nothing to do with mouthwash. And as a result, even a single line item difference, and they would deny appraisal, and the Department of Insurance would allow that to happen. So appraisal isn't a good option everywhere. They would say something like, so if we did not pay to replace the roof, are we going to be getting contacted by their lawyer? They're just asking a question.
It's a good question.
Is it really a threat? I don't know if that's a threat anymore.
I don't know. Kind of goes back to the pattern we were talking about earlier. If you imply something, is that a threat?
Can a public adjuster say that they will be suing you? Obviously, a public adjuster can only advise their client that they might pursue an attorney or think about getting an attorney. But they definitely can't force the insured to do that. If there's an assignment of benefits involved, in certain states, maybe.
So if the question theory or approach might work, could you say to the carrier, I have a question. Are you acting in bad faith? And according to the Unfair Claims Practice Act, Section J, where it states this, could you be acting in bad faith by accident, unmaliciously? It's a question.
I want to ask every adjuster going forward, are you acting in bad faith? You know you have to tell me if I ask.
I'm just asking a question. Why not?
That would be weird.
I wanted to make fun of contractors who tell...
Texas on appraisal.
Oh, yeah.
Texas is very different than a lot of states. Texas definitely allows scope to be appraised, but not necessarily scope that wasn't already identified scope of damages or scope of repair that wasn't already previously identified prior to appraisal starting, or at least that is the way that they are pushing it to become, because some of the issues in Texas on appraisal is that the appraisal panel might discover damages that were not even talked about before, and suddenly additional detached structures are involved in the appraisal, and it was never even brought up before. And they're trying to close that gap so that the appraisal panel doesn't have as much leeway to do causation and damage. Yeah, we don't need these anymore.
Yeah,
causation and damages. You look better with that on.
I thought
like
so.
Hair.
Anything that covers the face looks better.
Just of how good a picture Stephen Hazvati gets of McAllen, Texas. Such a beautiful place. Stephen's in Hawaii, isn't he? Aren't you in Hawaii? I thought Stephen was in Hawaii.
He said he works in Hawaii, or he takes claims there.
David, talking about cases that made it to appellate court in Illinois, the lawyer that has no business taking on the claims is Powder Dry versus Bean. Wow, what a name. Powder Dry versus Bean.
I've never heard that.
I don't know what that's about.
I've never heard that.
I want to know.
Hi, Dave, by the way. Haven't seen you in a while.
Dave came to Florida.
I know. That's where I met him.
You were just being sarcastic.
Yep.
I can't tell.
This is the sarcastic episode.
He is. He is in Hawaii. That's what he meant. All right. It's been an hour. We have a lot more on the list that we never even touched.
We didn't even talk about all the carrier issues, all the contractor challenges. There's a lot of opportunity out there for everybody to improve, to be honest.
There is. We all suck.
Yeah. Whereas you said we're all stupid.
And we're all stupid.
Yeah. But we're growing each day.
We should all improve. And we should all read the book Powder Dry versus Bean. What is, oh my God.
Did you say it's a book?
About. No, it's a case.
Oh.
It sounds like a book. It sounds like a kid's book. Doesn't it? Children's book?
There might be an internet website called Powder Dry versus Bean, but I'm not watching that video.
Next episode, the Quimby hit list. That would be fun. That would mean you have to name people.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Oh, absolutely.
You'll name people?
I will. There's so many people in this industry that give everybody bad names. And to be honest, contractors typically are really passionate about, hey, I make the best product. I do the best roofing systems, and they're proud of it. And then they make fun of all the other contractors that they cut corners, they buy shitty products, and have a bad work product, right? So why isn't it every industry or every niche in this industry, why wouldn't there be bad PAs? Why wouldn't there be bad contractors? And so forth. So across the board, it's some people that should be called out, and they do sometimes in those echo chambers, but it's without all the information or data before they call them out.
You going to give us a taste?
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Really? I could probably think of like 15 names right now, but I'm not an asshole.
Okay, I'll call somebody out. I'm not going to mention any names, but we're gonna talk about a guy named Anthony, just a random Anthony. So if you're looking
definitely not talking about Anthony Delmonico.
Yeah, definitely not. Does that count?
Want to make sure that it's clear.
Yeah.
That is not the particular Anthony that we were just about to start discussing.
So Anthony's SVG group as a whole, we understand has a lot of influence. And there's a lot of industry standards that become normalized with certain cultures that you kind of copy and paste. And we feel like as a whole, there's so much room for improvement in those areas with the young generation coming into this. So there's so many things that you could pick apart on those things, but people are a little intimidated too because they're afraid they're not going to get marketing exposure or they're going to get shut down. So we're encouraging people, like, stand up for yourself. If you have a belief that you don't think is right, don't support things that if you don't believe in it. So I don't know, things like that bother me in the industry. Does that count?
I think it counts. There's so much more you could have said, and you were very. It's a tease. That's what I asked for. So
there we go.
And we'll have to actually. I don't know. I mean, the show's name is "Listen to This Bull."
Oh,
it really wasn't meant to be like Jerry Springer or anything like that.
But
I
people
feel like
love
there
it.
are some other shows from maybe like an insightful show about roofing. That has seemed to be somewhat Jerry Springer-ish lately. Maybe that would be the show for it.
That's a good call. I think that's good. I mean, everybody who watches this and who's involved in industry, who communicate consistently, they know really what's going on, but they just choose their battles. And I think there's a lot of us who want it to be improved.
Yeah.
A lot. So yeah, it takes shows like this. We have the courage to say something.
Cool. All right.
We appreciate you, Matt.
Should we act like we're about to walk away from each other and not see each other right after the show? Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy you were here.
The bar's over there.
It's like 200 feet that way.
Okay.
Full bar. Hey, if you come to the class, I really do like it when people bring me alcohol. Thanks to Aaron, who brought me some salted caramel Tennessee whiskey, and it smells like butterscotch, and it's amazing. And he also brought me some peach Crown Royal. Mm-hmm. I've had the apple. I haven't had the peach yet. Looking forward to the peach.
You're from the peach capital. How could you not have the peach?
I didn't know they had a peach. It's crazy.
There you go.
So anyway, next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have TJ McCormick coming on. And TJ, I've started to uncover a little bit about this man's life. And holy crap, he's very interesting. And I'm an asshole for reading a book by its cover. I admit it to him. I definitely did not know who I was really talking to the last time I had him on. Kind of figured he was more of a TikTok and that was about it. But dude, there is so much insight coming from this man. I enjoy my conversation. He's going to be on next week. I'm going on tour with him, with Jen Silver and John Senek for the Roofing Reclaimed tour. You can check that out at roofingreclaimed.com. Our first event is in Atlanta on April 25th, and we're moving from there into Tennessee, I believe. But check out our roofingreclaimed.com. Our website, listentothisbull.com, finally has merchandise. We got merchandise. You can buy a shirt. You can buy the shirts. Everybody's been asking me about the damn shirts for so damn long. And the technology wasn't working. It's working now. I'm so happy. Anyway, National Claims Institute is our primary sponsor here. You can check out all the courses that they offer, nationalclaims.institute, to get yourself learned up about insurance claims and the processes and all the different things. There's 14 different courses that are being offered currently. 392 different courses planned. It's enormous. And it's in Florida, which is warm. Anyway, check that out, nationalclaims.institute, roofingreclaimed.com, listentothisbull.com, and then Jasin Quimby, he's with Coastal Claims. I think they have a website too.
Coastalclaims.net.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks.